Hello everyone, it is Maggie. I'm sorry that I've been away for such a long time. I've been really busy lately, which actually, if you knew me, that's really weird. Normally I have like a lot of free time, but I've been super busy lately, and for the past week I've been completely out of service, so I haven't been able to upload anything. And then the week before that, it was Booktube-A-Thon, and it was just a whole crazy stuff was happening. So I actually have like 5 videos that need to be put out in the Booktubeverse, so I won't be on my regular releasing a video schedule for a little bit. I think I'm just gonna release a lot of stuff your way real quick so that I can get back to my schedule because this girl likes her schedules. Also, so sorry for the lighting. It is now nighttime, and the only way I can get good lighting is when it's daytime and I'm standing in front of a window. So it's super yellow and yet still like pink. Not the best, but we can just try to slide on past that. On to my Booktube-A-Thon wrap-up video. So overall thoughts about the Booktube-A-Thon. I thought it was so fun and it really made me like sit down and read. I have only had very recent experiences with read-a-thons, but I decided that I absolutely love them. Sometimes I just need a little push to sit down and read a book that maybe I wasn't going to read for a while. This made me read a lot of books. Video challenge wise, I thought I was going to be able to do like 5, but man, the 3rd day video challenge, which I believe was recreating a scene from a book, I remember feelings I get after reading books, but I don't remember specific scenes really well. So I was like doomed from there, and then I just wanted to really concentrate on reading, and I was getting a little bit in over my head, and I think I know what I want to do next year, like how to handle stuff. Overall, I think I did pretty good. I did not read 7 books. Let's just put that out there. Did not read 7 books. Challenge-wise, I think I finished like 5.5 challenges. But since it was my first Booktube-A-Thon, I'm still pretty proud of myself. Also, I'm sorry that you can kind of see my unicorn in the background. That's my unicorn. She's a babushka. Don't ask, it just happened. So the first book I read was the shortest book I had in my TBR, and it is Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed. Fun fact about this author, she's a lawyer, so she just like casually also wrote a really good YA novel, as one does. So this book was way more heart-wrenching than I had anticipated. I think I stayed up until like 2 a.m. trying to finish this book because I just was like, no, I have to finish this book. I need to see how this ends. I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. It really discussed a lot of really important things. I don't want to be too specific though, because I think going into it, when I thought it was just like a contemporary, just going in, it is a contemporary, but it has a twist. And I think it's best to keep that a secret, as it doesn't really tell a lot in the book flap. So I would just say, definitely would recommend reading this book. Next, I really wanted a happy contemporary after that last book, so I ended up reading Between the Notes by Sharon Huss Wrote, and this was my You Bought It Because the Cover Was So Beautiful challenge. And I think I read this in 1 day, technically. I really like this, very lighthearted, contemporary, but it's not like too fluffy. It's like the perfect amount of fluff and like seriousness combined. This is about a girl named Emerson, and her father just lost a whole lot of money. All of a sudden, they just have no money, and they have to move across town to the wrong side of the tracks, which incidentally is still a part of her high school district. So she still goes to the same high school, and her friends don't really know that she moved to this shameful part of town because it's where like tough people live that also are poor or just discriminated against, and she basically has to ditch her prejudices. There's a little romance in here. I think this is super sweet. The guy she ends up with is like my favorite character trope for a love interest. Also, I give this book a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. Haven't entirely decided, but this was exactly what I wanted, just a really nice, fun contemporary for the summer, and I would definitely recommend reading this. Then my TBR slightly varied because I was listening to an audiobook, and I love listening to audiobooks for like literally anything I'm doing where I feel like I can't read while I'm doing it. And I was listening to Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen, and I decided to just switch this one out for Adaptation, which was in my TBR. I instead listened to this book, which was super long. Feelings about this book. It was nice. It was a lot deeper than I had anticipated. I would give this book maybe a 3 or 2.5 out of 5 stars. I think this just wasn't really what I was looking for in a contemporary. Like, it was too deep for me and not a lot of fluff. And I thought it was going to be fluff. So I think going into it, I was like, wait, what? And kind of confused. And I thought the pacing was a little bit weird, like it was just taking a long time for me to get through it. This was my first Sarah Dessen book, and I know it's not like her most popular one, so maybe I'll still try a more popular Sarah Dessen book. This book is about a girl who was taken from a bad situation and moved in with her sister, who at this point, they were pretty estranged, and it deals with domestic abuse, both mentally and physically. It's one of those books I don't really know exactly how I feel about it. It wasn't what I was in the mood for, and when you are just like listening to a book really quickly or reading a book really quickly, I think it can sometimes hinder how you feel about a book or make you feel like, yeah, this book is amazing. And for me, this kind of made me not really fall in love with the book. The challenge that this book replaced was a person on the front cover. Then finally, I had a full day all to myself. I didn't have anything going on, and I decided to take on the challenge of reading a book in one day. And for some reason, I decided to pick the longest book in my TBR to read in one day, but it's fine because for this book, this is what I'm into. I love this series. And it is the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, or Lee. Not entirely sure. You know me. I'm really bad at authors' names. I am really sorry about that. This book didn't go as fast as the first book, and it just developed so well. Plot, character, just developing everywhere. It was just so good. I would still give this book, I think, 3.5 or 4. No, I'll give this book 4 out of 5 stars. You know when you're reading something and the character development just makes so much sense and you're like, yeah, I dig this. And she did it. It was so good. 10 out of 10. Would recommend this series, especially since they have gorgeous covers now. The writing just moves so well for me. This is a great fantasy with like Russian aspect. Please go out and read this book. My next book was also a little going off of my original TBR. Instead of reading The Murk in the Midnight Hour, it kind of seemed like it was going to be spooky, and I wasn't really into that. So instead I picked up yet another contemporary, and this book is This Is What Happy Looks Like by Jennifer E. Smith. And this book I'm pretty sure I got when it came out, which was 2013. And I started reading it right away. And I got like halfway and then I stopped and I never picked it up again until now. So this book was just to be the read 7 books in 7 days challenge. I didn't read 7 books in 7 days, but it's okay. It's all good. This book felt a little bit like Geekerella, and it's probably because I just read Geekerella last month, but this book also follows a movie star who is emailing / texting this just normal girl by accident, and he ends up emailing this girl who lives in Maine, and she lives in a super small town, and then they kind of like get a crush on each other. Somehow he changes where they're filming to be in Maine. And I thought that was a little unbelievable. This was a cutesy little love story, but they didn't really tie things up. They kind of left it like open-ended, and I love when things get tied up all nice. I want things to be like wrapped neatly and given to me with a bow on top. Like, I want an author to do that for me in an ending of a novel. I just don't want my brain to be like, it could be this, or this, or this. Like, that's not when my little brain is happiest. So this book I would give a 2.5 or 3 out of 5 stars. I just think now this is not the kind of contemporary that I'm looking for in the summer. So the next challenge I sort of finished was the Read a Book Completely Outdoors challenge, and for that I read The Inventor's Secret by Andrea Kramer. And the reason why I'm like squinting and doing like little shifty eyes is because I only half read it outdoors and the other half, or more than half, I would say like 2/3 outdoors, and then the final third I read in the beach house. Backstory: my family goes on a week-long vacation at the beach every single summer around August, end of July, and something that my family loves to do is to go on tiny little like adventures around town each day. So I didn't have a lot of time to just sit outside and read, because by the time I got home I had to put on sunscreen because I am really pale and I burn very easily, and that took a little bit, and then I had to like lay out, and the wind was crazy. There is so much sand in this book, so it was like battling against the elements, and then the sun went down and it got cold, so I had to go inside. Like, it was a lot of stuff was happening, so I tried my hardest. This book is a first in a steampunk series. I read some Goodreads reviews that are like, this isn't true steampunk, like blah blah blah. I think it's just I don't like steampunk that much. Like, I like it when history, just like its era, just stays historically accurate as much as possible when it comes to inventions. I don't know why, but when like little inventions are like dropped in, like modern stuff, like, oh, we're in the feudal period, but wait, there's a train, and it's like never really explained. I don't really like that, and this was literally all that. Don't knock it till you try it. And so I tried it, and it did not work for me. But hey, I tried it! Little pat on the back for Maggie. Premise of the series: the Revolutionary War was lost to the Brits, and now they control our empire. And also, by the way, there's like a lot of like gadgets and stuff, and like a lot of stuff happening future-esque wise. And that was intriguing to me, but it didn't really make it so I could like dive into the story and really be immersed. Of course, this book revolves around a teenage girl, and she goes into her season. I think the season is so interesting and really weird, like a weird thing that happened in our history. But also it makes sense, but like also weird. Anyway, she is put into the season, and then she falls for people, and then they betray her, and I don't forgive the guy that betrayed her, but she's like nudged towards forgiving him, and I'm like, don't do it, don't forgive him, he was an asshole, like that kind of situation. I had a half a day left of the Booktube-A-Thon, and instead of starting Truth Witch, I just didn't. By the first 2 to 3 pages, I just knew it was the kind of book that I really wanted to take slowly, so I could really just like take in all the information, because I knew that I loved her writing already, and I didn't want to like force myself to like go through it because I had to for the Booktube-A-Thon. I am saving that for another special time when I have more time to read it. So to recap, I read 6 books. Oh god. I read 6 books out of 7. I enjoyed most of them. Whew, so that is it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love read-a-thons, and I'm going to try to participate in as many as I can. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I come out with a video every single Wednesday and Saturday, normally. Not for the next couple weeks, but normally. So if you like my content, make sure to subscribe. And if you like this video, then make sure to give it a big ol' thumbs up. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. I love hearing from you guys, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day.